The institutions have hidden the meaning of this verse. They pretend it's lost knowledge because if they were open about what it means, 90% of the churches today wouldn't be standing. Most Christians in the West today are Nicolaitans. Jesus says, "But this thou hast, that thou hatest the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate." He makes it a point to say twice, "So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly." So if you're part of the remnant, you have ears to hear. You probably don't even need to know what this is just based on the next verse. All right, so in the dictionary of my 1863 Bible, it says the Nicolaitans were certain heretical Christians referred to in Revelation 2:6 and 2:15 who taught that the knowledge of God in Christ was sufficient for salvation, and that being justified by faith, they were free from the restraints of the law and might indulge in sin with impunity. So, sin without consequence. They also historically taught faith alone. If you go to Blue Letter Bible and look up the phrase faith alone, the only time it occurs in the Bible at all is in James. To go directly against it, it says, "We are not justified by faith alone." They were also lumped in with the Gnostics, so faith in both heretical groups was an intellectual belief. Therefore, deeds of the flesh had no effect on one's soul. Thus, God's laws did not apply to them. This unbiblical doctrine made the Nicolaitans the Antinomians of the Asiatic Church. Antinomians taught that the law was of no use or obligation to them because faith alone brought salvation. So the two main teachings that we know the Nicolaitans were running with is that you can eat food sacrificed to idols, which would be unclean foods. That's why they say in Acts the minimum for the Gentiles, so as not to trouble them, is no food sacrificed to idols, no meats that are strangled, and no meats that contain the blood. All three of these contain pork. The other thing for the Gentiles to start with is no sexual immorality, which of course was the second thing that the Nicolaitans taught was okay. And that's why they were considered heretics, because they taught that sexual immorality was okay. They were justified by faith alone, and that you can eat whatever you want to eat. There is so much in antique Bibles. It's so obvious to me that the institutions have hidden these things, because if they were out in the open, many of the modern Western churches would collapse because their teachings are not anything close to biblical. I'm going to have to do a video series on this because there is just so much. It's taking me forever to even comb through how off our doctrines are now compared to just 200 years ago.